Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this meeting of the Mid-Sussex District Council Cabinet. For the benefit of members of the public watching on the live stream, I'm Councillor Jonathan Shedwards, the leader of the Council. To my right and in front of me are members of the Council's Cabinet, and to my left are members of the Council's management team who will be assisting us with the meeting today. The first item on the agenda is to receive declarations of interest from members in respect of any matter on the agenda. Are there any to declare, please, colleagues? No, thank you. Item 2, to receive apologies for absence, which we've got from Councillor Salisbury. Item 3, to confirm the minutes of the Cabinet meeting held on the 21st of March, which are in our packs. If I can ask members to use the voting buttons to confirm whether we are happy to agree those as an accurate record of that meeting, please. Councillor Demers, do you want to speak?
Oh, no, I was trying to vote.
If I could ask for a show of hands instead of the units, please. Thank you. Those minutes are agreed. We turn to item 4 on the agenda to confirm, consider any items the leader agrees to take as urgent business. There are none. So we'll move to item 5, which is the performance outturn for 2021-22. And I'll turn to Stephen Fitzgerald, who's introducing the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. My name is Stephen Fitzgerald. I'm interim head of resources. This item 5 is the annual outturn for 21-22 on the overall council's performance. This is a report which probably comes against the background of considerable turbulence due to the effects of COVID, which has been cutting on most local authorities, well, all local authorities across the country. Nevertheless, I think the story here for Mid-Sussex is a positive one. 71% of the indicators are in green, which compares favourably with the previous years. The comments of the scrutiny committee have been enclosed in paragraphs 14 to 23, and we've made some modest amendments to the performance indicators which are outlined in Appendix B. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. Fitzgerald. And colleagues, I'll just draw your attention, as has been said, to the Scrutiny Committee's comments, which are always helpful and are contained in the covering report. And I think overall a pleasing end to the year in terms of service performance. 71% of indicators on green, and as has been said, a fairly challenging year given some of the tail of COVID in that year. So lots of services that have had increased demand have come through well. I'll invite members to make any comments they have. Are there any comments or questions? Councillor Demers.
Thank you, Stephen. I'm very glad to see that we now have an additional indicator for fly tipping. I think that is good news. And the other thing I was very pleased to see was the number of planning enforcement investigations last year. I think that 450 is not bad going during COVID, and it's good to know that when our residents are concerned about anything, they are investigated. So thank you.
Councillor Webster.
Thank you, Chairman. I just first of all want to make the comment that, and it is covered in paragraph 9, but the council has continued its business as usual throughout the past year and had to pick up additional work in several other areas, environmental health and housing, and particularly in terms of revenues and benefits where we've had a substantial amount of extra work that has been done over and above everything else. I just wanted to make that point. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments? If not, we'll go to the recommendations that are set out on page 7 of the agenda pack, which is to note the Council's Outturn performance for 21-22, and identify any areas where further reporting or information is required. We haven't. And to note the changes in the bundle of indicators to be monitored in the new financial year, which is also in the papers. If I could ask members to vote on that, please. And that is unanimously agreed. Thank you very much. We turn now to item 6, the financial outturn for 21-22. And again, I'll turn to Stephen Fitzgerald to introduce this item, please.
Thank you. In tandem with the report that we've just considered, this is the financial outturn for 21-22. And I think we can point to a reasonably positive story here. Overall, in terms of revenue, the underspend is 144,000. That has moved significantly from what we were reporting previously to Cabinet. What has moved in the right direction? There is an increase in income recovery of 385,000, a planned contribution from the Leisure COVID Support Reserve of £500,000, and this has moved us to a position where we are showing this modest revenue underspend, which I think would be seen as favourable by equivalent local authorities. In terms of the capital position, we're showing a modest underspend there. The overall programme is 5.2 million. At present, we're showing a 1.5 million underspend. However, we'll be touching on that a little further as we go down the agenda. But in terms of capital, generally, we experience an underspend. We also report here on the level of reserves, and in terms of revenue reserves, we have 5.4 million. In terms of earmark reserves, we have about 38 million, which again is a reasonably healthy financial position for this authority. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. And can I just clarify in terms of the net underspend, effectively the effect of having to use the leisure-specific reserves, that we've just used less reserves than we would otherwise have done. We haven't got a kind of windfall there that can be used particularly.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. And I think, notwithstanding that, a good position to end the year. And so I think when we were doing the budget planning at the beginning of this year, and indeed many points during it, that would have been a very respectable position to have ended, given all the challenges and the costs of the pandemic and the need to support our leisure centres as we have done. Colleagues, I'll open the floor up to comments. Councillor Hillier.
Thank you. It was just a very brief comment, it's a bit like the last report. I'd actually like to commend the senior officer team. I think this is both the finances and the performance outturn. It just shows that this council has been very well run during these very difficult times, and thank you very much. And let's hope we're saying the same again in 12 months.
Councillor Webster.
of all, for the explanation of the underspend, because it's a very complicated sort of in and out movement of numbers, and that was very helpful. Thank you. And I'm struck by the fact that this is a financial outturn for 21-22, where it's actually probably a financial outturn for the last decade, because this council has worked very hard over the last 10 years to build up those reserves that were mentioned. And the thing that I want to draw particular attention to is the way that this council has changed its way of doing business, and an awful lot more of the business is being done online, and the Democratic Services annual electoral canvass has saved £18,000, which I think is quite significant, and it's just one of the markers of the way in which the council has changed the way it does business. And I often wonder how much money we have saved in postage in the past year and in photocopying. And that's all I wish to say, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor De Meo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Really, that I was going to give my admiration for, as Councillor Webster has also noted, the fact that our IT team have really done pretty wonderfully with electronic communications, and this, I believe, has gone through every department within the council, so that's good news. The other thing I was exceptionally pleased to see was that our economy has obviously not bounced perhaps, but come back a little more quickly than people envisaged. If we look at the extra in car parking charges, which must be one of the questions we look at, and the data to see what the economy is doing. So I think it's a pretty good position to be in at this point in the year, and thank you all. That's it from me.
Thank you. I haven't got any other members indicating. We've always known as a council, it's a truism anywhere, that you need a strong financial position to deliver what you want. And I think our ability to support services and local communities during the pandemic, as has been said, was informed very much by the work we did over the decade before that. Our task is to rebuild that position. And I think this report gives us a good foundation for doing so over the coming years. So I'll take Cabinet members to the recommendations, which are in paragraph 7, little 1 to little 6, and I'll ask that we vote on those in bulk, please. And those recommendations have been unanimously agreed. Thank you. So we'll go now to item 7 on strategic risks for 2022-23. And again, Mr. Fitzgerald is going to introduce this report. Thank you.
Yes, this represents a reporting on our risk management across the council, and asks members to approve a couple of recommendations. I would just point out with this report that it deals with the corporate risks, and underlying what you see here before you are also operational risks and operational risk role registers, which are held in each of the council's service areas. So in terms of what we're asking members to approve, it's the risks we've identified in Appendix A of the report, and also the strategic risk policy, which is shown at Appendix B. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And this is a tried and tested approach across the council that we look at each year to look at key pieces of work that we need to be keeping a close eye on, and I think the top three we've got in front of us are reasonable for the year ahead. And known, which is always important for risk management. Nothing surprising. Any comments, colleagues, on the papers? No, I haven't got anyone indicating to speak, so I take it that colleagues are happy with what we've got in front of us. So we'll go to the recommendations then on page 63. In paragraph 2, that we agree the strategic risks for 2022-23 and management plans in Appendix A, and agree the risk management policy in Appendix B. Can I ask members to vote on that, please? And that is unanimously agreed. Thank you. That takes us then to item 8, the capital programme and revenue corporate projects update. And Mr. Fitzgerald again, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Leader. This kind of links to the Outturn report, which we were talking about previously, and in specifics, the capital element of that report. And what we're asking members to approve this afternoon is some variations to that capital programme relating to the Swanmead development and Beadlands, and also the Orchards, which is improved toilet provision. But specifically in this, we're looking for approval of the utilisation of 1.5 million of capital receipts to enhance the Swanmead development, and also, so far as Beadlands is concerned, to use £500,000 from the General Revenue Reserve to carry out works relating to that site. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And some important projects here, and I think particularly East Grinstead members will be keen to and pleased to see the proposals at Swanmead coming forward. And I think an important step in terms of the work that this council has been doing for some time to improve our temporary accommodation position, to own more temporary accommodation ourselves, as well as improving a site that's been vacant for a while and is in need of improving in that part of East Grinstead. Councillor Belsey, I wonder whether you wanted to kick off on that, as I know you've been involved in that project.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Leader. No, I'm very happy to support these three projects across the three towns. The work in Burgess Hill Beadlands needs to be done, and of course I support that project. We've also discussed before the toilet improvements in Haywards Heath, which I'm also very happy to support. However, I think it's the first time we're probably seeing as Cabinet some proposals for Swanmead come forward in terms of having a firm proposal. As you say, the current building in Swanmead is very tired and needs improvements. I think it's an ideal place to, being council owned, for us to be able to put forward a temporary accommodation plan for that site. It's a great location, very near the town centre, and as we know, for temporary accommodation is also much needed. We don't have much there, so I'm very supportive of that. I hope that we will come forward with a good quality design for those for the dwellings through our consultants. I know that the residents of Queen's Road will be interested just around some of the issues regarding traffic and parking there, etc. But I'm sure they will all be dealt with through the planning application process. But just, I know we'll want to have care for other residents there. But I think it's a really good project, and I'm very happy to support it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Belsey. Councillor Webster.
I too am very, very pleased to see Swanmead coming forward. It's a site that is ideally located in the town centre, and it will be particularly convenient for people who are in need of temporary accommodation. And I also note that it would be suitable for people with particular support needs as well. And what I'm hoping is that some good construction in that area of the town will lead to a mini regeneration along that road, because it is in need of some care and attention. And I hope that this will be the focus of that. And of course, I'm very happy to see Beadlands coming forward, because the work that's being proposed there is very much needed. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Cromie.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm delighted to see that the Orchards improved toilet provision is on the agenda and going through and will be completed by the end of November 2022. I think it's really important that we have the temporary toilet provision there while the works are going on, and I'm pleased to see that that provision has been granted. I think it's important that we look at that existing public toilet site. It will provide more access for longer period of time. And just overall, I'm really pleased that this council is making such a commitment to allowing Hayward Heath to be more accessible to all of our residents.
Thank you, Councillor Cromie. I haven't got any more members indicating they wish to speak, so I'll go to the recommendations that are set out on page 81 of the papers, paragraph 2. They were asked to recommend to Council for approval the variations in the capital programme and revenue projects contained in paragraph 17 in accordance with Council Financial Procedure Rule B3. If I could ask members to indicate, please. That has been unanimously agreed. So we'll move on to item 9, the Burgess Hill Martlet Shopping Centre proposed interim uses, and we're giving Mr Fitzgerald a break now, and I think Judy Holmes is introducing this report. Thank you.
Thank you. I think the report's self-explanatory. We're all very aware of the long history to this site and of the centre. And whilst remaining committed to the future redevelopment of the town centre site, this report provides Cabinet with 2 options for an interim use of the ex-Martlets Hall and Library site in Burgess Hill. It also asks Cabinet to earmark a reserve to support the work, subject to securing alternative external sources of funding. I'd like to draw Cabinet's attention specifically to an unsolicited approach that we received regarding the interim use of the site, outlined in paragraph 43. I would also want to draw to Cabinet's attention a request from Councillor Eggleston that officers draw your attention to 3 particular items. An email from him on the 26th of May, which we shared with Cabinet on the 30th of May. But also, he asked us to draw your attention to the full copy of the Town Council's proposal and to a letter from the Town Council dated the 1st of December. These 2 items have already been shared with Cabinet as they are background papers to this report. See the link on page 94. And then finally, I am aware that Cabinet have received some further information from the Town Council via an email today. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you for that introduction, Ms Holmes, and yes, we have received that information from the Town Council and carefully considered it, and we will do so as part of this conversation. From my point of view, yes, it's a shame we're in this position. I think that's got to be the starting point, is recognising that this isn't where anyone would want to be, and working to secure redevelopment of Burgess Hill Town Centre has to be the top priority. But I think that given what we all know in terms of the uncertainties of delivery, it is important that we try and improve this part of Burgess Hill Town Centre. And I think that's the right thing for us to do. I thank the Town Council for their ideas, and personally I'm drawn towards the concept plan in Appendix 1. I don't think it's perfect. I think there's some further work that could be done on it, but I think that there is an opportunity to do something with this site that does look good, does bring some vibrancy and some use back into that site, and that does so in a way that allows its use for some events and for some pop-up uses perhaps as well. So that's kind of where I am to start off with. So colleagues, let's talk about that first, and then we'll come back to some of the other points the Town Council have put forward. Colleagues, who wants to go first? Councillor Balsey.
Thank you, Chairman. And in the same way I just spoke, pleased to welcome the temporary accommodation coming forward to East Grinstead Town Centre. I'm pleased to see different concepts come forward for this space very close to Burgess Hill Town Centre. I completely understand that it's not ideal for to be looking at interim and temporary uses, and I wish that we had that the town centre development scheme moved further, so this wasn't necessary. However, I don't know how long this scheme is actually going to be there for. I know the proposals look to consider a sort of 6 to 12 month scheme. Personally, I think it's important that we look to brighten up the town centre, that we've got something where there can be activities taking place during the town centre, and I don't want to second guess how long it might be there for. If it was a very successful scheme, I think it would call it into question that whether we would want to keep that a bit longer. So therefore, I prefer something a bit more durable on that site, and would like to see activities there all year, plus pop-ups as you've mentioned. So looking at the particular scheme in terms of the Appendix 1 and the scheme from the designers, I think probably I wouldn't want to see a beach if it's going to be something for all year. I'd like it to be durable and something substantial on the site. Personally, I'd like to see some shelter on the site, and I'd like to see a kiosk on the site so that people will be able to have some refreshment facilities there. I'd also, whilst I appreciate the amenities such as table tennis, etc., I'd also want to see the capability for other pop-up facilities, potential market there. I know that was an unsolicited request regarding sort of car boot sales, etc., but I think the principle of that could be welcomed onto the site, and I would like to make sure that there's something that might be fun on the site for individuals and families to be able to use. So I'm definitely in favour of the concept, and I think it's important that we do look after our spaces to make sure that we are providing facilities to our residents even whilst waiting for things to come on further down the line. So I can see a lot of reasons to support the scheme, but I think given I don't know where we are with the development of the town centre in terms of New River moving forwards, I would like actually to give it a chance to be as successful as possible, as durable as possible, and that it would be something that could be adapted for the longer term if necessary, or certainly the medium term if necessary. So in that respect, I'm supportive of what come forward, and I'd be less supportive of something like AstroTurf, etc., which I think might be a bit more temporary. In terms of, I'd prefer something more durable and capable of longer lasting. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Balsey. Councillor Webster.
In dwelling on this paper over the last few days, I've been reminded of where this council has been over the last 8 or 9 years with the town centre redevelopments in East Grinstead and in Burgess Hill. And at one point we thought that Burgess Hill would be redeveloped ahead of East Grinstead, Queen's Walk, and then Queen's Walk edged ahead, and then Burgess Hill edged a bit further ahead, and in the end, East Grinstead Queen's Walk has been redeveloped, and parts of that still remain empty. And nothing has happened in Burgess Hill. And I think New River Retail have been caught in that cycle of a drift away from town centres and people shopping online and so on. So, I mean, New River have put in 2 different planning applications for this site, which has cost them a considerable amount of resource and finance. And we still are no further forward, in spite of the fact that we've had probably getting on to 40 major projects going on in Burgess Hill. So this council is very committed to supporting Burgess Hill. It's just the town centre is proving a bit of a tough nut to crack. So I would be in support of the paper that is put forward. And Chairman, can you just confirm that we're going to talk separately about the Burgess Hill Town Council submission? Thank you.
Yes, Councillor Webster, we'll come back to those other points in a moment. Councillor Hillier.
Thank you, Leader. And this is a difficult one. I think, as you and also my colleague Councillor Webster, there's a huge amount that's going on in Burgess Hill, has been for a long time, a huge amount, many, many millions being invested, and I suspect it's going to become just an amazing town. But we all know that all those efforts are blighted by the ongoing state of the town centre. And I think, as everybody is very keen to see if something can be done with this site to enhance the town centre. I note the Burgess Hill Town Council's suggestions. I would hope to think that we can come up with something better, something that's more flexible, something that would actually become attraction in itself, so that families, etc., will come to that location to visit the town centre and then hopefully go on to use the shops and other facilities in the area. So I think that is something we can do. Members have heard me talk about things like crazy golf, but it's that kind of stuff that you can put on a site, I think, for very little money, that an awful lot of residents and families would actually make the effort to attend. I think we should continue to engage with the town council, also the excellent town centre manager, for ideas. But I think I've got 2 things. First of all, please, can we do something at speed? I want to see something, that site looking attractive and being available to the public to use as soon as possible. I think we should not let another summer go past. So I'm happy to support the recommendations. I hope that the Cabinet members and senior officers will keep a very keen eye on the plans and their costs to make sure the money is being spent wisely. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Cromie.
Thank you. I agree a lot with what Councillor Hillier has just said. I think Sussex is very, very creative. We're very blessed to live in a very vibrant district. And I think we could learn a lot from how local businesses use their space and how creative they are to attract footfall, to attract new customers. Some of the important things that I think really need to be built into this plan is, the first one, it's adaptable. We want to have flexibility. I think we want to attract lots of different ideas into that space so that it attracts more people and different types of people. I think it needs to be seasonal. So again, the idea of the beach, which Councillor Belsey talked about, I think we need to be able to be flexible so that we can adapt to each of the seasons, so that it's not very nice. It's lovely for a couple of months and then not very nice for the rest of the year. But more important, I think we need to provide residents with a substantial offer. I think it's only fair that they have something in the town centre that encourages people to stay longer, to spend more, and to improve the aesthetics of Burgess Hill. And I think it's important that this council recognises that and gives them something that's a little bit more than I think what's on offer. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Demir.
Well, I think actually everybody said what I was going to say, because I have the huge sympathy for Burgess Hill residents. You know, it does look horrid, some parts of it, although I do have to say I am envious of the swimming pool you have in the triangle, which is brilliant. I was going to use the word flexible. What this space needs to be is flexible as well as attractive, without going into details, but you don't want the beach, you don't want the deck chairs. As Councillor Crowley said, it needs to have autumn, winter, you can have a winter Christmas market. It needs to be able to adapt, but more importantly, I think it's worth spending this money here, because it could be somewhere that we do want to use, both residents of Mid Sussex and Burgess Hill, for more than a year or two. So let's at least put the footings down. I don't mean that literally, for something that, if it works, is going to really add value to the town. But I do so agree with Councillor Hillier. Please, now, we need it now. So can we please get on with it? And I love the idea of working with the shopping centre manager or whoever, who I'm sure has loads of ideas, and let's support her. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And before we just conclude that, then I think we should also just look at the other points that came from the Town Council, which are detailed in paragraphs 5 to 11 in Appendix 2 on page 104, relating to Little Hive and some environmental improvements. And perhaps, if I could ask Judy Holmes just for some clarity, that those aren't really decisions for us, those are matters really for New River. Would that be correct?
Yes, that's correct. And to say that New River are very supportive of whatever Cabinet are seeking to do in respect, and will support and work with Cabinet over the implementation of the interim use. And I know I've been working closely with Burgess Hill Town Council over other uses.
Okay, thank you very much for that clarification. So I think we'll leave those points to New River to consider, and the Town Council to progress and fund if they wish. So should we go to some recommendations then colleagues, just sort of picking up the various points. I mean, first of all, I thank the Town Council for their submissions. I think that this has been a difficult issue across the piece, in that, as I said at the beginning, the priority actually is to ensure we get a town centre redevelopment happening, and so throughout, this council has not been able to do anything that could have compromised that. Clearly, we're in an uncertain environment, and so we need to try and make some improvements, whilst also wanting a town centre development to come forward, and those viability challenges to be resolved. So there is a balance here that needs to be struck. I agree with the points that colleagues have made, and I think that the Appendix 1 concept, I think, is the right way forward. I think it's a bit bolder than we've got from the Town Council, and I think that's an appropriate way forward to ensure we try and make the best of this site. In the short term, and kind of creating a kind of urban park, I think would be a good thing. So I think what we're saying in terms of recommendation 5.1 is that we're wanting to move forward with Appendix 1, and I think that recommendation is perhaps with detailed design in consultation with the relevant portfolio holders. So I think there are a few points that colleagues have made around the beach and things, perhaps yes, some alternative ideas that could be factored into that. And then in terms of little to create an earmark reserve of £100,000 from the council's general reserve, et cetera, and I think the point there is, yes, let's look at some external support, but I don't think that should stop us moving forward either. So, Mr. Clark, are we happy with that in terms of forming a resolution from that?
Yes, Chairman. Can I suggest that 5.1 is select Appendix 1 in consultation with relevant portfolio holders, and then 5.2 remains as is.
Thank you very much. Are there any other points that colleagues want to make? If I could ask for a vote then on that recommendation. And that is unanimously agreed. Thank you very much. So we'll turn now to item 10, which is to consider whether to exclude the press and public from the meeting during consideration of the following items in accordance with section 100A of the Local Government Act 1972 on the grounds that it involves the likely disclosure of exempt information as defined in paragraph 3 of part 1 of schedule 12A of the said act. Can I have a second of that, please? Councillor Hillier, thank you. And are we agreed to go into exempt session? That is agreed. Thank you very much. So I'll be advised when the live stream has ended.